I'm going to talk about my story, our story, with my husband Bob Woodruff getting injured, but really more about the recovery and the resilience that we all have, to try to connect our story to the stories of so many people who persevere, and girls being leaders. There's so many connections. Bob is doing great, first of all. I often forget to say that part. He is covering the Asian region for ABC News, so he's spending part of his time there in Beijing. And we've recovered miraculously as a family. He was injured by a roadside bomb in 2006. He was the anchor of World News, and of course that chair couldn't wait for him to come back and heal. But our story, I think, is one of just basic recovery, resilience, and it's the story of so many military families and so many families. We're all going to hit stuff in life. Well, gosh, everything changed with that phone call. And we went from, being sort of on the top of the world to not knowing if he would wake up and live. And 5 weeks in a coma of really not knowing the outcome teaches you an awful lot about what's important. And we all recovered as a family. It does take a family. You realize that the family and the friends and the network of support and faith and keeping a sense of humor and so many things are part of that journey. We saw so many families in the military hospital who weren't going to have the same experience once they got out of acute care that we did. So we decided to take our story, which had gotten way too much attention, and start the Bob Woodruff Foundation. And that goal was to help other families traveling along this road get the resources they needed. So 11 years later, amazingly, we've raised and given away $45 million to help small grassroots organizations around the country with that transition back home after injury. I tell people everywhere, there are folks probably in your town who served, and they're not going to stand up and ask for help. But I think it's incumbent on all of us to be so grateful that we have families among us, people among us who raise their hands to serve, especially at a time like today when we look at the news and we wonder, what's happening around the world. It seems scary sometimes. We need to be so grateful for our military, all volunteer military. And when they come home and they're injured and they need us, we need to be there.